Let's begin the bulletin from, well, pork lovers. You need to watch out because there are suspected cases of African swine fever, ASF, and that has been reported in parts of the country. And this has led to the death of hundreds of pigs in the savannah and eastern regions. And there's more in this report.
In the savannah region include Canteen, Murutu, and Sorry Number 1, among others. To curb the spread of the disease, some farmers have resorted to slaughtering and burying sick pigs, as well as properly disposing of those that have already died. The West Gonja Municipal Director of Veterinary Services confirmed that the outbreak was due to African swine fever. Despite pork being a popular delicacy both locally and internationally, the outbreak has significantly impacted pig farmers, many of whom are still recovering from a previous outbreak in 2023. Cases have also been reported in Kwewu West Municipality of the Eastern Region. Samples from affected pigs have been sent to the laboratory for confirmation after pig farmers reported several deaths among their livestock 2 weeks ago. The Ghana Health Service explains the situation is being closely monitored while expecting the laboratory results to determine the next steps. African swine fever is transmitted through direct contact with infected pigs, contaminated feed and water, and vectors such as ticks and flies. Its outbreak can be controlled through disinfection and quarantine measures. The African sub-region is particularly vulnerable to African swine fever. An outbreak of the disease leaves damages estimated in millions of Ghana cedis.
Well, let's get to know more about this, and join us on phone is Risk Communications Manager at the Veterinary Services Department of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu joins us now. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for your time. So you can confirm to us that indeed there is an outbreak of the African swine fever in the country.
Great. Good afternoon to your listeners. So first of all, when it comes to animal diseases, it's being handled by the veterinary service, not the Ghana Health Service as was put up. Secondly, if there's an outbreak on alert, it will be done by the declaration by the Minister of Agriculture upon advice of the Chief Officer. For Ghana, African swine fever is endemic. It is not zoonotic, it doesn't affect humans. It's a disease of economic importance. That means when a farmer who has put investment into pig production should have it in the farm, it will wipe away almost 90 to 100% of the farm stock. That's why it's a disease of importance, and we always want to make sure it doesn't spread to other farms so they don't have issues with it. Currently, what's the stake in Ghana? First quarter, we had January and February. January, we had one case in Greater Accra which was contained. The one that was reported for Kwewu East was contained in February. So I think the time of publication didn't help, but it was done in February. And as at per our information system, as of yesterday, no case have been recorded in March. The Damango story too happened in 2023, and I think the news house got it wrong, which yesterday and this morning we have clarified issues, which after this interview too, they will give me opportunity to clarify. So there is no fears. African swine fever, yes, we have been having the cases in Ghana, and every time that the farmers report, veterinary service goes in strictly to make sure there's a full control. So this is what we have been doing from time to time. So there's no cause for alarm. It doesn't affect humans. And if any farmer is seeing any sick or dead animals in the farm, should quickly get to the veterinary office. They will come to that and make sure the protocol. So as of this morning, currently there's no case that has been reported. So farmers and port lovers should feel free. In case there's one, it is not something that will affect human. We always farmers cooperate, and we still want farmers to cooperate. In case you see your neighbor trying to give up dead animals, it is wrong. Even if the animal is not by African swine fever or any other disease, we don't encourage slaughtering of dead animals for consumption.
Okay.
It is a food safety policy.
Okay, so what you're saying is that there were cases that were recorded in January and February, but for March and getting into this month of April, there's not been any case, and so it cannot be termed as an outbreak?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we just want to tell the public and all media houses that when there's going to be an outbreak on alert, currently veterinary service are found on all the social media. We'll make sure the statement or issue will be spread to the media houses.
Okay. Right.
Anytime we are ready for confirmation or verification of such information. And this is very important because of trade. Ghana has to want to restore our currency. We are looking at international trade. And I know people do try to trade by exporting pork across Ghana and all those things.
Okay.
So these informations will be pleased that various agencies in the media fraternity would always do well to verify. Else, when it goes out there, it can affect international trade when it finds out not to be true.
All right,
but we are not ready. We are ready to tell the truth. If it is the case, fine, we would. That's why I'm inviting farmers and individuals who have any suspected cases of animals dying or sick to let us know. And if it is so, we would quickly confirm.
All right, so Dr. Sasu, since we have you here, let's do some education on what this disease is about. So tell us about this and what causes the outbreak so that for many farmers out there and our viewers out there can take note of that.
Okay, good. Just people normally confuse African swine fever with swine flu. Okay. Swine flu affects humans. African swine fever is different from swine flu. Though they are all caused by viruses, it is different. And for African swine fever, it's caused by a virus which is known as Asparviridae, which is a causative agent. With this one, it affects the pork industry greatly because of the massive mortalities, that the death of animals that we see. So farmers are put into their investment, and they may end up having investment be wiped up. And what can a farmer see? You see your animals starting to have what we call loss of appetite. You see them having hemorrhages at the abdomen. That means when you turn animal upside down, you see patches of redness, which is hemorrhages at the abdomen side, and also around the ear. And sometimes the edges of the ears turn bluish, meaning it's showing sign of cyanotic, that means losing of blood. These are what a farmer can see. But with what we are seeing globally, with change of virus, their behavior, sometimes you may have a case whereby it will not show all these signs. That's why the best is when a farmer to see the animals dying, quickly they should call. And currently, veterinary have even introduced a lot of methods. People call, we can do a video calling before we get there to assess the situation and let the person start something as we get there. These are measures that we are put into place. And we currently have officers across the country. So people should eat it. And for people who are keeping pregnant pigs, you see them doing abortion, spontaneous abortion. That means you are even losing the new ones that you want to. Maybe expecting to have more pigs through the pregnancy, and we see them losing. All these are signs that when it does happen, their various joints also get swelling, and we start to see them having respiratory signs, some coughing because of pneumonia or struggling to, and sometimes the pigs get to lose weight. This depends on the severity and the type of strain that the pigs may get, and may show these signs and symptoms. Look at these signs and symptoms. Some are synonymous to other diseases. That's why we say the moment a farmer should start suspecting that the animals are not feeling well.
All right,
just contact the nearest veterinary services.
We would have to end it here. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. So we heard from Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu, and he is the communications manager at the Veterinary Services Department, talking to us about the African swine fever disease. So watching the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana. We'll move on to the Ashanti region to some other stories. And bodies of two people have been recovered after an illegal gold mine caved in at Mpasatia in the Chumampunyuan district of the region. Now the incident occurred on Tuesday morning when the suspected illegal miners were searching for gold. The pit eventually caved in, trapping them in the process. Now rescue efforts have been intensified amid fears the scores of victims are in the debris. The assemblyman for the Mpasatia Ahimbronum area, Salifu Karim, who gave us a situational report, is calling for immediate intervention to rescue the parishioner. Residents, along with security agencies, are currently putting frantic efforts together to rescue the remaining individuals. Meanwhile, the bodies of the two deceased miners have been deposited at the morgue awaiting identification by family members. Well, let's now speak to the assemblyman for the area where the incident happened. Salifu Karim has joined us on the phone. Hello, sir. Thank you very much for your time here on Newsbeat on Good Afternoon Ghana.
You're welcome.
Great. Now, talk to us. Has there been any revelation as to what exactly caused the pit to collapse?
It is an abandoned pit that the old miners did and left it there. So the galamseyers came there and then they were doing some job. They were doing the galamsey and then it breaks and fell them in the pit.
Just to make sure that we're able to communicate clearly, would also do this in the Akan language. Inti Karim Patre say the pit was there already, and galamsey for no akoho. I know the ma adiano ebutomu. Hello, Karim. Hello, Karim. Okay. All right, so we're trying to speak to the assemblyman for the Mpasatia area where the incident happened. That is Salifu Karim. We lost him and we'll try and get him back. Okay, Salifu, akwa babiom. It's not me bisa say then the ma cave no ebutomu amenano.
Amenano ma ya jano ho so long ago ana omoba ho be ya adwuma ntina ai amenano mu wa na tie no ebui na kata omo so
No mo ko ho koye adwuma ana say nansia no mo ko ho
nansia no ba mo aba ye pam mo bete wo ma na omo awe omo ho aba site o
Inti sesia no yenim se nkrofo mienu na efrim ana say numbers ni bi ewo ho obetimi confirm ya kire
nipa mienu na number bi anka ho bi o
inti nipa mienu na efrim but o ma kemu no o hwa o mdodo be sen
obi ankam ya hwe na nete no obi ankam bi o
inti nkrofo mienu na etomu na o ma efrim
e ba chane
na impanyfo a wo kroni me ne a police fo wo kroni aba baby asem nesino na de ensem na o ma ka kire mo
from Nadmo Bahamoka they are here mineral commission they have come here omo nyina ba take omo records echo
na sani awo kan say pit no ye jato dadada na nkrofu yi eba ho no de hyehyɛ na mode to obiom say obi foforo ensan so emma sa amena no emma asem ye nsibiom.
Okay wadawo it is still no mineral commission penny for Bahanti.
Hello, Salifu.
Yes, sir.
Me pacho obetimi aka ni biom.
Mesi mineral commission penny for Baha anti amude nhyehyɛ foforo everban ye be bo ho ban se de be ya obi a me ma ho be ya adwum.
Okay. Na answer na be kono galamsey adwuma na ekoso ebi koso wo Mpasatia area nim dada amanfo ejaya na say da so koso ho ampinfo
na ebe ye
say okay, I think we've lost Salifu Karim. There is the assembly man for the Mpasatia area in the Ashanti region where we understand that 2 persons have died after a cave, well, a pit that they went to mine had actually caved in. He mentions to us that no other person has been found in the debris, and so he can confirm that the 2 persons are the only ones who have passed away, and they were the only persons there as the pit caved in. He also said that NADMO and some other security agencies have come around and they will look at the way forward as to how to prevent anything like this happening again. So that was Salifu Karim, the assemblyman for the area. And well, we'll stay on this and let's see if we can speak to Nana Nkansa. He's an eyewitness and saw what exactly happened. Nana Nkansa, that's on the Metro TV. Aiding Komo area.
Yo, many of them are messing with us.
Great. It's at the end of the year.
Yo, many are made us Emrada, a brand abo, a year, no do apart from a yesima, Edriana Insia. Ana Yan and TSA and Mpasatia, Krabatani, Bia, free ho, young quanta, a honor site no Ankasa ewo. Na a mantie man komako, a year, inum more amnemono, amrane a brogu so. Na a blight tea and as your speculation into ye, Adrian say, yeah, the one night aqua site wo. Na yakwa kwhwe de asi ankasa na ampani ampa so ebra yidu ye no so no sa pepepe anana etie na emrantie mienu na omodi kan de eyade se omotimi eyi omu a omoyi so no mato na nanom ewonse do na ba ko ye botarian ana ba ko so ankasa eye Mpasatia de se konkron na menia ebema me etie de se omoma ye nya na ntie se miensa aka amananimu enti no ye enu ada no yeah, after news no yes call back ekugina hwa ye say adofo ebetimi aboa amiensa etimi aka miensa na aka na enu anwumere no omobo bia omontimi anaja anopai yesa eye den efa yekuku ni nkaka ana yesa call yesa it back biem ade say eye nkawe divisional police command no ebepiem ho ena no pesa so na ye nadmo empanifo so ebepiem ho ana ye local people na ye Mpasatia fo na nkasa no mo ho no almost so etimi ebepie mo ho a sabre ebemu da so ewo ho no ma omoye adwuma se so mo nsa betimi aka eye nipa miensa na omaka na me beba
na ye ne assembly member edin komo sese o say ngofu miensa ya wo catch say and I say asem foforo emaye because he mentioned say obi animu sabio ban se na mo say ngofu miensa aka amenanim
Minia, the tense, and yes, be ye ho and ye first or an assembly member no or a brow no ho, our nemo casan, yes, near our run. TV3 or joy or obia ewo in ho the ecubiano and I ye can. Eti said this is in Omana or more we eyewitness and casa incidents na happy, you know. No more no, Omona 2 anymore say any pa no more and any pendum. Nam you know you monamus say me and sano. Nam se yini mo odunti abo mo de o makwhye asase na se asese enti ne yakwe susu se assembly nadbofo eba no ene bia eye polineko mo de bia eye excavator bi betimi aba ne de aye na me aba me de tie ne se adwuma ade ne se de sitie no omo no wisu eye pickers ade no so nye pickers adwuma ene shovel adwuma ka wo benya ka excavator ankasa no na eye ade se betimi anu eye na ankasa na etimi waste na free mu but we no mo de pick ene eye na se as assembly member say bibi say ni ho de ya ana ka susu ebe na wo ho a ka enu a yekogina monwum ya anopai ana ya say nyina as assembly member any unit committee members commander divisional police commander won carry omunyina ba nadmofo aba any other security personnel etimi abepiem ho ene awie me ni aba ma me na ka say it is every up to now most elder so ho a omo ehwehwe ndi if say assembly member ka say will be sa any ho de ya ana zaka nsusu say ka dom go nyina be ditwi asa be gina ho amode pickers ne shabu ebe sa be gina mremu se omu tutu e dia seche enipa aka eti nzuze assembly member no ebia no kura bi ho na bia on pese obeka because some trofo ankasa or grounds enye se bia eyeboslemuka ensem trofo ankasa enyina ye wo grounds ana de ekọ nyina no ye hwe eni bia manfo keke nyina so yiti me ne abema
nana nkansa ebeda wase bebre se wabo insanimu atre nana nkansa was at the pit site where the incident happened, and he tells us, as we spoke in Akan, he tells us that 2 persons, as we've mentioned earlier, have passed on, but there are about some 3 persons who are stuck in the pit, and they were hoping that when NADWO came around, they would come with some excavators because of how deep the pit is, but apparently they're using pickaxe and some shovel to try and find the other bodies, which he believes is not the very best. So we'll get back to you subsequently for more details on this. So let's do some more stories on Galamsey. And the Western Central Regional Police Command has arrested 11 individuals, including 4 Chinese nationals and 7 Ghanaians, for engaging in illegal mining activities along the Bonsa River banks and a site near Wasa Aguna. The suspects were arrested on March 31, 2025 through sustained intelligence-led operations against illegal mining activities.
5 of the suspects were Quinwing, Yao Yongji, Insu Otu, also known as Agulugu, Kojo George, also known as Sergio, and Emmanuel Van, known as Sata, were arrested at a site in Bonsa, while the remaining 6 suspects, Nguyen Shichuan, Juan Zimbao, Douglas Ayambila, Elvis Abuta, Michael Tete Komlum, and Ibrahim Dauda, were arrested at Wasa Aguna. All suspects reportedly confessed to engaging in illegal mining activities. 4 excavators used in the illegal operations at Wasaguna remained unrecovered. The police have initiated efforts to locate and retrieve them as evidence. In a statement, the police noted that the suspects will be arraigned before the court once investigations are completed and all necessary evidence is processed. Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Service has assured the general public of its commitment to fight crime, ensure security, law and order in the country.
Flowing through on the various cases about illegal mining in the country. It's time for our Tiny J segment. Now, a team from the Just One Group of companies has undertaken a knowledge transfer program in Austria focused on waste-to-energy solutions and a national apprenticeship program aimed at facilitating skill-based capacity building and training. The team, which comprised researchers, circular economy experts, and learning and development professionals, conducted a study tour of major recycling plants producing refuse-derived fuel that meets the required standards for energy generation and as a substitute for fossil fuels.
The team understudied Austria's apprenticeship model, a dual education system where students receive 80% hands-on training within companies and 20% vocational school instruction. Hosted by the Austrian Chamber of Commerce, the team engaged in discussions on the framework guiding Austria's national apprenticeship program. Thomas Rochenbach, education advisor at the Austrian Federal Economic Chamber, explained that the apprenticeship model is designed to equip young people with the necessary skills for employment and career progression. The head of Just One Academy and leader of the delegation, retired Brigadier General Mike Apachu, in an interview, described the study tour as highly insightful. He said the Just One Group, as one of the largest employer of Ghanaian youth, has gained valuable knowledge on apprenticeship as a tool for skill development. He gave the assurance of the readiness of the Just One Group to contributing inputs into Ghana's national apprenticeship program. Project manager for the West Academy projects funded by the Austrian Development Agency ADA and Comtech GmbH, Jacob Ladi, emphasized that the study tour was a crucial component of the broader initiative. He said the research is expected to provide a blueprint for the implementation of waste-to-energy solutions in Ghana and across Africa. Ladi expressed deep appreciation to the Austrian government for its support and reiterated his confidence that by the end of the project in 2027, all key deliverables will be successfully achieved. A communications officer of Zoom Ghana Limited, James Deco, emphasized Just One Group's commitment to sustainable waste management and green job creation. The Just One Comtech Waste Academy initiative is a knowledge transfer program aimed at enhancing capacity in waste management. The program, which was launched last year in Ghana, is funded by the Austrian Development Agency and Comtech GmbH.
That's it for the Tiny GH segment, and that's wrapping up the news updates this afternoon. Good afternoon, Ghana. I am Desmond Crackdown. So many thanks for joining us. The show continues with Annie Ifwa Ampofo. Hello, Annie.
Desmond.
Yep.
Thank you for the updates. So the Galamsey, we still have how many people in there? 2?
Yes, according to the eyewitness, that we have about 3 persons who are still in there. And he mentioned that he was hoping that NADMO would come in with excavators because of, you saw the videos on the screen, how deep and big the pit is, but they're actually using shovel and pickaxe and those small tools to try to rescue the others who are stuck in there. And so we're hoping that the right things will be done to help find the other persons.
I'm not sure. We will pray that they will be alive once they are found.
Well, not trying to be, as we say, a prophet of doom, but it looks like they have passed on.
They must have died by the time we get to them. Rather unfortunate. The Galamsey menace, I am not sure. It's very difficult now to even know exactly what roadmap we're using or we're applying as a country to tackle the issue. And they have also decided to arm themselves. Well, they've been arming themselves, but I think now it's worse. They seem to be more empowered.
Yep.
For whatever reason, I don't know.
And it is very, it's a very dangerous thing. And also looking at the fact that, especially for this government, before coming into power, some of the things that they had mentioned, and so people are asking questions that, when is it going to be? What are we waiting for?
Yeah.
You know, a few days ago, I understand that some persons who were armed slashed, people.
What's it? Forestry commissions officials. Yeah.
And it's very sad these things are happening. We pray for our water guards.
The water guards are actually not supposed to be by the water bodies. Their work, specifically when we actually, pursued to ask how the operations were going to be, we're told that they are specifically going to be whistleblowers. So they are going to be hiding in doing their work and blow the whistle. How they will manage to get the information across appropriately, I don't know. Because we also know that the Galamsey themselves have people at the entrances of the sites.
Yes, who are watching out
who
for whoever is coming to the sites.
Yes.
Anyway, we hope for the best.
So this is war.
Yeah.
Thank you, Desmond. All right, you're still watching Good Afternoon Ghana here. Those are the news updates, but let's go for a breather. We'll be back with some more, as we'll have the National Service Board also with us to tell us more with that institution or with the authority what exactly is going on after the scandal that we've discovered going forward, what's going to happen. And then when we have the chance to, there's been some responses that's coming from the majority side in Parliament towards the minority side in Team Fojo, to be specific, about the allegations that it is making about government using this country as a transit point for money laundering and drugs. We'll be back shortly.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh bread.
I'm a fair missing way.
Mpasatia bantama.
Machasri.
Cycle.
It's her smile, the fresh breath.
Me, Gidi said we use a Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's here. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasa. Ile hosen. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will so feeling Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Attention all farmers. Are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa, and the IRECOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRECOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
Paying for your Showmax is easy. Just choose your preferred payment method from these easy and convenient options. MTN Momo, Visa or MasterCard, Showmax vouchers at DSTV or GoTV sales agents, or use a promo code. Enter your payment details and hit submit. Showmax, pay easy, stream easy.
Hi viewers, how well are you informed about the general knowledge of the world? Current affairs, history, English, sports and more. Introducing the Metro Quiz Show. Who said it always seems impossible until it is done? George. Martin Luther King Jr. Forget the money. Professor by Nelson Mandela. William, 3 points for you and another 30 Ghana cedis. Currently, Africa's highest paid footballer. William. Mohamed Salah. Forget the money. Alright? Forget the money. Former Man City player, Riyad Mahrez. More money for your wallet. Over to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Metro Quiz Show.
All right, welcome back to the program. It's Good Afternoon, Ghana. Let's get into more of the stories where we've had the allegations of the government using this country as a transit point for money laundering and drugs, hard drugs, I mean. And President John Dramani Mahama says that the security agencies will collaborate with Reverend Intim Fojo for evidence of his alleged drug trafficking and also money laundering press conference. Now, Member of Parliament for the Asin South, Reverend Intim Fojo constituency, alleging that the armed men made a transit in Ghana with a suspicious cargo suspected to be cocaine and cash in US dollars. Let's turn to the video wall to read excerpts of the captions from the president, and then we'll give you the video that the press conference which was held by Reverend Intim Fojo, who is also the ranking member on the Defense Committee. Do we have the video? Okay, so we have the video.
And Kavok Air private jets transporting suspected cocaine and cash. Ladies and gentlemen, on another security matter related to our airspace, the Minority Caucus calls on national security to, as a matter of urgency, make public the content of cargo suspected to be cocaine and cash transported into the country by 2 suspicious flights, namely Air flights NH23AM and Kavok Air private jets Antonov An-12B, which landed on the tarmac of Kotoka International Airport in March 2025 from Gran Canaria, an island of Spain, and departed to the same Gran Canaria days after their arrival. Reliable intelligence intercepted by the Minority Caucus indicates that on March 20th, 2025, Air Med flight N823 AM, which is an air ambulance, and I must stress, it's an air ambulance designed specifically to carry patients, landed at Kotoka International Airport in Accra, Ghana, and remained in the country for 5 days before departing 1 a.m. on March 25th, 2025, back to Gran Canaria. Our intelligence further persists that no patient was transported by the said Air Med flight, neither to nor from Accra. There is no evidence of medical referral of or patients accompanying or on board the flight on either legs of the flight. We are reliably informed that contrary to the expectation that the Air Med flight would carry patients, the purpose for which it was designed and operates, it rather on this occasion carried suspicious cargo suspected to be cocaine and cash in various United States dollars denominations. In a related development, a private jet, Kavok Air Antonov An-12B, also landed at Kotoka International Airport on March 12, 2025, from the same island of Spain, Gran Canaria, and remained in the country for 13 days and departed at 6:40 hours, that is 6:40 a.m., on March 25th, 2025, to Gran Canaria. The very day Air Med flight also departed to Gran Canaria. While it is intriguing that the two suspicious flights would depart to the same location on the same day, even more intriguing is the cargo suspiciously transported by these aircrafts to and from Gran Canaria, an island known for its notoriety in drug trafficking, money laundering, among others. We call on national security to make full disclosure of the content of the cargo carried by these two aircraft into the country, as well as the cargo carried out of the country by the same aircrafts to Gran Canaria, consistent with the principle of transparency in our collective quest to fighting drug trafficking and money laundering.
Now, the former Adenta MP, Kojo Asare, also came out strongly in defense of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, describing the party as a clean party and dismissing allegations of cocaine and money laundering activities as too extreme. He also revealed that the president is taking the allegations seriously and will definitely follow up to investigate. However, the party's rep, Ernest Adadi, earlier on Good Morning Ghana today, advocating for a thorough investigation into the issue, raised the minority's expectation. And he says that the minority has a legitimate concern and must raise as they did.
We will make sure that anybody who pushes himself into that zone to want to create scandals for the government, that person will be given out and given up for the laws to deal with them. We will not cover anybody's mess. And me, I won't come and sit in your studio and come and do PR for anybody who brings any scandal onto themselves. I won't do it.
Yeah.
All right? So, please, we are only 3 months into this. Maybe we'll come to the container issues later. Yeah. But we're only 3 months into government. And it appears that there is this daily attempt to want to denigrate the NDC, find some story to wash us with, or to what is that for? What is that for? We are not going to allow that. There's where there were evidence that we adduced to any case that we raised, any scandal that we raised, we show the evidence. We show the evidence, and the president then cleaned them. Please, they shouldn't bring these things this time around. Because we ourselves, we are a check onto ourselves. We, the NDC, we are a check onto ourselves. We wouldn't let 1, 2, 3 people destroy things that we have built over time. We won't let that happen.
Especially when you have just heard that there was a cocaine matter
We haven't heard anything from the day of the arrest. Have you heard anything from the Takrade issue that Kojo just referenced? Have you heard anything again? You are in the media. Maybe you hear things I don't. But I haven't heard anything any longer. We had some container filled with money and that matter has just vanished into thin air. If you are in that position and you get something like this, you don't think that it was necessary to make it a matter that will let the president do what he did? And Kojo thinks that it wasn't necessary for the president to give attention. And I'm asking him, assuming that those planes landed with arms, not cocaine, not money laundering, not money, bags of money or cartons of money, but they were cartons of bazookas and rocket launchers and things coming to create problems in this country, you will still feel that the president didn't have to pay attention as the person leading this country. So, Moro, let's be careful the way we downplay things. Because he tried to trivialize it and throw it off. When planes are landing in your airport and you cannot account for the cargo they are bringing, that shouldn't be the case.
So that's what was said on the Good Morning Ghana show earlier today about reactions to what was said by Reverend Ntim Fojo, the ranking member for the Defense Committee in Parliament, about the government, allowing this country to be used as a transit point for hard drugs and activities of money laundering, to be precise. Now, let's listen to Honorable Agalga.
I mean, it is misconceived in the sense that so far, government has been accountable with respect to the operations carried out by national security. Let us start with the interception of containers containing some gold bars and money, including United States dollars and subpayment. Clearly, there was a statement put out there, which was to the effect that national security had impounded some containers containing gold bars and currency, some of which were supposed to be fake, etc., etc. Then the statement went on to indicate that further investigations were ongoing following the arrest of some individuals. I mean, they were on the heels of more suspects. So, with respect to subpayment, what it means is that investigations are ongoing. And when investigations are led, you don't come out there and blow your cover. If you come out there and say, okay, our operatives currently are in Tema trying to fish out for suspects, wouldn't you have compromised the investigation itself? You would have done so. Again, some tipper truck which was carting cocaine from the central region towards the Accra direction was intercepted by national security operatives. At the end of the day, they discovered that cocaine worth $350 million was concealed in that tipper truck. Again, the tipper truck was impounded. Those who were driving the tipper truck arrested and are assisting the national security with further investigation. What more do you need national security to see when it is clear that investigations are ongoing? Then the minority again made a very serious allegation that some two aircraft landed in this country and are suspected.
And that's the chairperson of the Interior and Defense Committee in Parliament, Honorable Agalga. But His Excellency the President also made a response on his Facebook wall. Okay, so that's what you have on your screen, but let me just take the opportunity to read it here so we can all get it clearly. He says, let's build Ghana together. That's a hashtag of the post. My attention has been drawn to allegations made by a press conference by the Honourable Member of Parliament, Reverend Ntim Fojo, regarding two suspicious flights arriving at the Kotoka International Airport suspected to be involved in drug trafficking and money laundering. Government takes all allegations seriously, and to ensure a thorough and transparent investigation, I have directed all relevant investigative agencies, including the Narcotics Control Commission, NACOC, the Police CID, the National Investigation Bureau, NIB, and the National Security Coordinator to immediately and fully collaborate with the Honourable Member of Parliament so he provides all necessary information to investigate the allegations and take all action necessary to expose any drug dealing. We will maintain zero tolerance for using Ghana as a transit or final destination for drugs or drug trafficking. The NIB made a high-profile bust of drugs last week with street value of $350 million. Let's build Ghana together, hashtag. And that's on the Facebook wall of His Excellency, the President, John Dramani Mahama, showing or being very proactive on this press conference that was held by the ranking member of the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament, Reverend Ntim Fojo, who is also member of Parliament for it was South constituency, Asin South constituency. All right. So it's quite a serious, allegation to make regarding drugs, money laundering, because those are high, crimes. If you, for want of better expression or for want of better description, if a country is used as transit point for trafficking hard drugs and money laundering activities, that is something, of course, the government should be interested in. So that's, some updates that's come about the press conference that was held this afternoon. We've actually, tried to contact Reverend Ntim Fojo. He has announced to us that he is caught up in the meeting. As and when he is free, as far as the show is still running, we'll give him some time to speak to us. That's if he wants to speak, because I'm sure by now investigation has already kick-started as far as these allegations are concerned, because they're rather very serious. And so let's see how that goes. If we're able to raise him, we definitely will speak to him on that. All right. All right, so the breaking news coming in is about the e-levy. Now, tax revocation, that's the story. And John Dramani Mahama assents to the amended bills abolishing e-levy betting and others. The story actually says that President John Dramani Mahama has fulfilled a key campaign promise by signing into law a set of amended bills that abolish the betting tax, e-levy, and emission tax, among others. He's signing, which has just been completed in his office, marked a major step in his administration efforts to reduce the financial burden on Ghanaians and drive economic growth. Now, the removal of these taxes was a central promise in the NDC's manifesto aimed at easing the cost of living and encouraging business expansion. Parliament on Wednesday, March 26, 2025, passed the bill to abolish the controversial electronic transfer levy, which shortly call it e-levy. The repeal of the e-levy has also been widely welcomed by Ghanaians who strongly oppose the tax. The levy, which was introduced in 2022 by the previous New Patriotic Party administration, imposed a 1.5% tax on electronic transactions, including mobile money transfers, bank transfers, and online payments. Since its introduction, there have been protests and public outcry, with critics arguing that it disproportionately affected low-income earners and the unbanked population. So that's the breaking news coming in, and you see it in your pictures on the screen. His Excellency, the President, has signed into law by revoking the taxes that the party, actually in a campaign period or in a campaign season, made promises that it was going to remove to ease the burden on the ordinary Ghanaian, and that has been done. So going forward now, some of you, when it was actually being spoken about in Parliament, you thought that right from that time when you bet and you send monies, you don't want to see, but no, it doesn't happen that way. Until it is assented onto by His Excellency the President, it cannot actually take effect. Now, it has taken effect. So let's see going forward how that's going to happen, where the agencies that are in charge, as the tax agencies in charge, are going to take actions to remove, those taxes that are putting burdens on you, the ordinary Ghanaians. All right. Let's now move on to other stories now. The Simon from Parliament, the what's it called? The Parliamentary Call President is telling me that Agaga, yes, Simon, I've seen it. It was a mistake, I'm sure. So those of you who read the ranking member, is rather Reverend Tim Forjo as a ranking member of Defense and Interior. Agaga is now the chairman. So apologies for that typographical mistake on the screen, just so you know. Okay, let's move on to other areas and get into details of what we have come here to do today as well, as far as the progress of this country is concerned, the students, the graduates, and the youth going forward, right? So this afternoon, we're pleased to host, I would say, one of my good friends. One of my good friends in the past, but now he's a big man. Manning a very sensitive office. At least we know it's a very sensitive office today, right? Because a lot of things are happening in that particular office, and most of us are very much interested to see the way forward, how that office is going to, be running going forward. When I knew Mr. Felix Jenfi, he was actually the public relations officer, or the PR, yes, the public relations officer for the National Service Secretariat. Then it was a secretariat. Yes, and he used to worry me a lot about, we're going to this farm, come and cover it. We're going to have this program, come and cover it. So that is how I actually got to meet Felix Jenfi, which we became somewhat an acquaintance. Today, he is actually the acting Director General of the National Service Authority. You're welcome. Good afternoon to you.
I'd like to think you're my friend, always. Not just in the past, but even now.
Yes.
And then we've known each other much longer than when I joined the National Service Scheme. At least, I think at the castle, or even at the party head office running to the 2008 elections.
Oh, that reminds me how activities were done at the castle. Yes.
We're going to be friends much longer.
Yes,
so.
yes. Way back.
Yes.
Way back.
Yes.
It's nice to have you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. So, good afternoon to you. Now, the other time I had a discussion with you on news, I remember we're trying to, understand how the work is going now, but now we have a lot more time, so we can talk much about how the scheme, the authority.
Yes.
The authority is going to run now. I see you were having some respiratory challenges. Are you
just
coughing?
returned from the north, so the change in weather had a problem.
Okay.
But I'm okay, I'm here.
Okay. Anyway, we're glad to have you. So tell us, it used to be a scheme then.
Yes.
Now it's an authority.
Yeah.
What is the significant change?
Well, I think that the last administration, and this was going to happen in a way, that the National Service Scheme, as it was then, in its powers, was not good enough to carry out the mandate it should, or as enshrined in the law. So they thought that it should carry on all more powers, and if it became an authority, it could levy some charges, it could get into areas that a scheme could not get into. So essentially, that is it. Yeah, so being an authority now, it can do things independently, it can raise its own money to manage the authority and then levy some charges agreed by Parliament. So that essentially has been.
It has it has the powers, or it's clothed with the powers to also deal with crimes.
Or crimes? Oh no! I mean, the states, the laws are very clear. What it can do is that it can do more than it used to be when it was a scheme.
Definitely.
So now it has more defined objectives than when it was a scheme, which was acting under a ministry. It's still under a ministry, but now it has additional powers that will be very good for carrying out its mandate.
Okay. So now let's go through the authority itself. I mean, you've just taken over, like I said, when you were PRO, it was a scheme.
Yes.
So now that you've taken over as an authority, tell us about it.
Well, I think certain things were going to happen in a way, because it was only a matter of time that we're going to admit to ourselves that national service as it is now, probably in the past, it did some very good work in education in rural areas where teachers were not there, in primary health care, in hospitals, setting up district assemblies in the 80s and the early 90s. But times have moved on. Now all these institutions have have had the requisite staff in all these areas.
If advanced.
At least education. But the scheme has not moved on with the time. Now it has to refocus and then redefine the mandate of the scheme properly so that it responds to the challenges that we have as a country, either in agriculture, health, education, entrepreneurship, youth development, and these are areas that we need to make the needed changes. Otherwise, I mean, the scheme, the authority become quite obsolete.
Now, is it what you have taken over? Do you see it as obsolete, or even though it has changed into authority, you still see it as obsolete?
No, I mean, I haven't worked at a scheme for close to 15 years now. I'm so clear in my mind that we need to respond to the challenges. A situation where you send national service persons to public organizations and they are rotating work after every 2 weeks. They are not learning any meaningful skills. They are not developing themselves for the job market and everything. So it's certainly not good. So this year, at least, I've said that we should work towards a 50% parity between private and public sector postings. That, for me, will be a win-win situation for the National Service Authority, for government, because government would have reduced its commitment to national service. We would be able to pay the service people earlier and better newer allowances than they used to collect, because the numbers would have gone down. We will have this big private sector where our postings there had remained averaged 14% in the last 8 years. I think we have to move even beyond 50%. So that people
in the private sector, it's
yes,
been
of course,
14%.
Yes, in the last 20 years, we've never gotten to anything above 20%.
Why?
It's hovered around. I think that we give into some weaknesses and the lack of discipline, and then to fight, you know. So what I've spent most of my time doing is engaging the private sector, speaking to them, setting up 2 new departments.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it not obligatory if you send national service personnel into private sector? Are they not obliged to absorb?
No, you actually have to request. Most private sector institutions do not know that they can even request service persons and receive them. And I'm even thinking that churches, because if you have a very big church building, you can't leave it in the hands of some good Samaritans. Now there has to be an estate manager who knows how it is to take care of buildings. And then we have hundreds of people who are doing estate management at tech. If you are building a small house and you want to cut costs and be sure that the iron rods, the quality of the concrete, the wood you are using will stay the duration of your money's worth. There are so many civil engineers. The collapse of buildings in Accra and other places could be avoided if only individuals engage our own young men. So we have to begin to see national service as also as a response to crisis. Virtually every aspect of the economy that you look at, we could send national service person there to address certain challenges rather than keeping them in offices where they are doing absolutely nothing. So my being here today is to send a word ahead that they should work with us, individual companies, 1 or 2 people, even in Mpasatia, because we have to send our service persons to where business happens. And so, I mean, in Mpasatia, Makola, if they can do the accounting books for these people, stores management, you know, and then have them do real work.
But I'm sure you appreciate the reason why when national service personnel are sent into companies, they are not allowed, to report in actual operations or the operation or the daily operational activities of the companies. That's because they are literally new on the job. They don't really know much about.
Of course, I mean, I'm not sure APSA and most banks would agree with that assertion. I mean, the national service or like operation like GCB, Ghana Commercial Bank, which takes about 750, APSA 450, Nestle. The national service has been the backbone of these companies in times where they needed maybe people who can do the work on lower incomes. So if you allow them, after spending 4 years in the university, there are things that they certainly can do. And we should encourage our people to accept postings in some of the areas where they can make changes. The situation where Cocoa Board asks for 20 people and we end up sending them 400, and people are there hanging on the stairs, sitting under trees, should be a thing of the past. We have to be bold and make the right changes.
So let's say if Cocoa Board will request for about 40 people,
yes,
and then the service ends up sending 400 people, whose fault is it?
Well, I mean, at this stage, it's the National Service Authority.
Yeah.
Because at some point you have to buckle to the pressure. And then,
yes, I was going to ask you if you sometimes,
but that's why I'm talking now, and I'm going to talk about it. We have up to September before we do the new postings. You know, when and my focus is also that I want to collect enough requests for the private sector, so Cocoa Board, Nestle, Ghana Airports do not become the only attraction points for our new service persons. You could be working at an accounting firm at a quiet place in Gosu, overseeing the mining activities at Newmont new sites, working with a small private company, building new houses in, people who have been moved from mining areas or something like that. Is worth it. You learn new skills that you can depend on to get employment in the future. Now, it might shock you, the statistics as we have now from the National Service, and at some point I'm going to release it, that for all those in the public sector, those who go to do their service in the public sector, it's taking them at least 10 years to find jobs. After they've done national service, they keep roaming and going up and down because they did not get the right skill, they did not get the right connections or training, no entrepreneurial development. But whereas those in the private sector have a 32% chance within 3 years to get new employment. So these are facts that speak for themselves, and we should pay attention to it. We can no longer delude ourselves. Yes, we do, of course, and it's there. I mean, you cannot even ignore it, because if people are taking postings in a Thai company or a food company, a beverage company, you see it in real time. What it is that my team and I have been doing is that let's reach out to new companies that have never taken national service people before. Like I said, even churches, in schools, in individuals who want to build homes, if they have companies, they can get these young graduates in. People who did marketing can establish new supply chains for us to bring fish from Toko, Yiji, and then Anglo. It is how we have to dare to change the economic circumstance of our people. The people who did these things in the 80s and 90s, traveling in dusty road at night, they did not have the sort of education that we have now. We have become more sophisticated with mobile phones and then internet and everything. We have to put it to use so that we can end youth unemployment. Other than that, what are we looking at? Yeah. No, I think it's just right from the inset. Metro TV, no, it needs 3 cameramen, 2 journalists and all that, and that's what they sent to us. But because of the assumed lucrativeness of working at Metro TV, people say, oh, send my daughter or my son to Metro TV. And they come here to ask your HR, and they come to national service. At some point, you give in, and then before you know, you have sent, instead of 3 or 4 people, you have sent 80 people. When you do that, you are valuing the service of the people who are there to learn anyway, because you're a company that has, weighed your strength and asked for 4 people. So when suddenly there are 30 people to handle camera, what valuable lessons are you going to learn from this space? And it's a conversation that we must have quietly within us, that if you are sent to go and do national service at Ghana Gas, and you are going to work once in every 2 weeks and stay at home for 2 weeks, what really are you doing?
Yeah.
So we should search ourselves and be honest. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? Because it's not adding up. There are all these entrepreneurial areas that we can work with, like people who have been sent to our farms, our poultry farms, maize farms and all that. I'm going to encourage them, all of them, that you know what. And so far we've had that coming, right? So if on our poultry farm you stay there for a year or 2, we could give you some of our birds, and then the feed, you manage maybe 1,500 and begin to build also, a life of a poultry farm.
That's another branch you want to add?
Yes, of course. We have the birds already. And then in partnership with Agri-Impact and MasterCard Foundation, I mean, the Happy Project, it's one that we can model on because it sort of inspires youth entrepreneurship around the country. So we put maybe 250 people, 400 people in tomato farms in Yape or Kumeu and all that, so that these people can gradually see that, you know what, if I had an acre of tomato farm, I could get this X amount of money by the end of the month, which is equal or even much better than if I was sitting in an office and then earning less.
And working.
You also have the peace of living in a serene, beautiful environment outside of Accra. So the trappings are quite
That's
good.
not exactly the story of many service personnel.
Well, I think
that's not the
few,
story. Because I've seen, because of what I do,
Yes.
we've seen a lot of videos of
Yes.
our service personnel who are teachers.
Yes.
And it's sad and difficult to watch them, how their work really demands so much, where a teacher will have to go through a village and stand somewhere advantage to her or him and be screaming to children, "Ochinani baby school or be school." I'm sorry. So the truth of the matter is that I think some of the personnel where they're posted to, the difficulty of living through the practice of their job and their work.
Well, I will not deny that they are isolated incidents.
Or some enjoy it.
Of course, a majority of them do enjoy it. And then we are posting about 20,000 or 22,000. I can assure you, for 20,000 and more would enjoy it and would like to even stay in the town. They build lifelong friendships in these places. But few of them do not get it well. I think it's a fact of life. But we should encourage people to go out there. That there are beautiful, far more beautiful places in Ghana than staying at Tadabraka and going through the traffic in the morning from Adenta to Sanitation or something. You would rather stay in my hometown, Bekwai, and then walk to school.
You know, I don't know, you have a flat rate payment for all service personnel.
Yes.
And that is where
Which favors people who are in the rural areas. Because I was telling somebody that you could buy washi for 2 cedis in Tamale today. And I want people, I mean, people are watching me. They should probably say, if you can buy washi for 2 cedis in Tamale. And then yellow, you can take yellow.
What's yellow?
1 Ghana cedis there. I think that's what they call Pragya in Accra or something. And I have spent time in Tamale. If you can live in Shalaga and those things, life there is very cheap. You can rent a room for a whole year for 20 cedis. Or for a month for 20 cedis.
Yeah, but I mean, when you post personnel or workers into an area which conditions are not as favorable as maybe the developed or urban areas, it's unfair to have a flat rate across for all of them because they travel a longer distance. They have to have extra resources in terms of beds, a room to rent, place.
Rather the people in the rural areas,
just to create the convenience for them.
The people in the rural areas live closer to their schools and then place of work than those in the urban centers, because in the rural areas you do not have to. And then we engage the headmasters to find accommodation for the people that they requested for. So overly, that has been the trend in so many years. But of course, like I said, often there are a few isolated incidents that rather blots the rather overly good perception of national service.
Like male teachers impregnating students.
But these are ones in a million.
It's not 1 in a million.
Well, I don't know, but
it's not.
Are you suggesting
Felix,
that? Are you
it's not 1 in a million.
Are you suggesting that those who are not doing national service are not impregnating teachers or younger people?
No, I'm not saying that.
It's not limited to.
I'm not saying that, but we hear more scandals from that quarters of the quarters of.
That's not a lot. I think that it's true, but it is just a general societal norm, rather limited to national service persons.
It's not a general societal.
I'd like to think so. I mean, but of course, you should also admit that that's where people find their wives and then their partners, lifelong partners. I'll tell you, I found my wife in a national service farm. You know, so you see, you're looking at it.
What?
Yes, I did. I had gone to the farm and then we met there, and that's it. And
and she was a national service personnel?
Of course, yes. Then I was young and I joined the scheme, and we've been married for I think 11 years this year. We have 2 kids.
I'm noting this down.
So there are also beautiful relationships that emerges out of these things.
There are. I mean, if you think about,
so it's not just
maybe some of the teachers are posted into rural areas.
Yes.
Of course, some of the students there will find them very much attractive and will want to, I don't know, open up for relationship.
Okay.
But
No,
sometimes
I think the overwhelming story is that
they
it turns out to
impregnate
be
them
good.
and they run away.
Really?
Yes.
I'd like to see the statistics on that. Than the more successful ones.
No, but if you hear, bits and pieces of all these stories, it's once you are doing follow-ups, you should be able to know that this our personnel were told that created this scandal when he went to this village.
Oh, no, these are isolated. I'm not sure that there's even it can even represent 1% of the service persons that we post in our.
Are you sure?
I think so.
1%.
I think so because I'm not sure. We have posted in the last year maybe 120,000 people in the private and the public sector. I would really be surprised if 120 of them have done what you're saying happened. It's not possible. I think it's a general society norm that some men would impregnate women, and then women also find their long life partners through these national service persons.
You may want to consider it as a societal norm, but
yes.
Once we are also checking, we have institutions that we man.
Yes.
Once we check,
I'm sure I haven't told you the story. Several people are going to tell you now how they also find their wives, their girlfriends, through national service. I do not make a secret out of it. So.
This man has sat in national service. You can't. You can't throw anything at him for him to accept. Anyway, so let's look at the models now. Do we have new models or the old models, and what are they? Take us through. I'm looking at your site, but take us through your models.
We have. I think the Outbreak model, which we've had for all these years, to which you alluded to, has now been intensified, and then I want to run it as a business. If I put money in a national service farm or a poultry farm and I will not get the returns, I will not spend the money. I rather leave the money in the account. And that is what everybody has so quickly come to be accustomed with. So if you are coming to me for us to discuss something, it has to be planned right from the beginning to the end. I'm not in the business of making losses for either my company or the national service. And this is, for us, this is a basic principle. Okay. So in our tomato farm, the maize farm, and now there will be thousands of acres of maize around the country. There will be tens of thousands of beds around the country. There will be so many acres of maize, thousands actually, in the major season, and then thousands even more of soya in the minor season. And I'm telling you, we are going to run it as a business and then make sure that we get the required dividends. We are working with partners who are businessmen who, when they put their tractor to plow and harrow the lands, they expect a certain feedback. I have gone to the Minister for Outbreak, and then he's been so wonderful, giving us the inputs that we need. I would not like to go back to him and say that we didn't make the required profits or the required, the expected harvests. I'd like to go back to him and have him extend the offer that he's made to us, and I'm really committed to that. Of course, we are looking at several other models, but it's also too early. I like to show what I have done than talk about it when it's even in the planning stage.
So in terms of Outbreak, have you been given targets by either the president or the ministry?
Well, we have given ourselves targets. For our lands at Kumewu, which is about 4,000 now, we are cultivating everything with two partners. That's 4,000 acres of maize. In Nigeria, where we have farmed for years, we are doing 500 acres. In Branham, where we farmed in the past, we are doing 3 acres. Today, we've started plowing in Agbuti Akpota and then Agotime Ziopi, about 500 acres. And then also our beds, we quickly want to send our beds numbers to less than 2,000 to 100,000. 10,000 are in the last 2 weeks. I think that we would quickly scale up to 50,000 because of the plans that we've put in place. We've invited young ladies from the area to come and work in the farm and hopefully become their own poultry farmers so that the National Service can aggregate these finished birds and then give them to an off-taker so that they get paid back. That is a business model that young people should look up to, and that's what I'm advocating.
So the authority is working into the bigger picture
of course. We're all inspired
poultry
by
or Outbreak.
Yes, of course. We're all inspired by President Mohammed's poultry vision, and then the maize vision he has and everything. And then, I mean, we started right from day one because I've worked at National Service for too long. I didn't need further. So we spent about a month, and then we had already started building the 20,000 capacity. The 20,000 capacity is ready. We are building 30,000 nests, so that will bring to 50,000. When the 30,000 is ready, we'll go 50,000. We want Papa within a short time to become a sort of an institute for poultry in Accra, where universities, young people can come and learn and train on how they will manage their own poultry farms. Gradually, we could be taking a good shot at poultry importation, and then let our economy be on its foot, really.
I've actually been following Burkina Faso recently, because of what their leader is doing in the country in terms of agric, and sometimes it really, really scares me how he's putting up a challenge. Because when it comes to cocoa, we know that we have an African country that we're competing with. Recently, I read that Burkina Faso has now become the largest supplier or exporter of onions. And I think tomato too, they are focusing, largely on growing tomato. Do we do some comparisons to our close neighbors? Because once we're close neighbors, it means that we have equally good soil to be planting same crops to export or to supply. Do we look into those areas, or we're starting small? How exactly is the model looking like?
Today we're sending maize to our farms in the Ashanti or the Middle Belt. Honorable Eric Opoku has been great. He's been very helpful, encouraging, and of course inspiring. I think that Burkina Faso is a much smaller country. If we do the things that we've set ourselves this year, and next year we can even expand, I'm sure you'll be just amazed. Because in virtually every region, district in Ghana, the National Service has permanent staff and permanent officers. We have to build the businesses around these people. At least you must think about it as a business so that they can tend to it and make sure that it succeeds. And that is what I'm inculcating into everybody. That if we reduce the government's commitment to the National Service in terms of allowance payment, and then we have all this money coming from agriculture, from our 20%, you could be looking at National Service in the next few years paying itself, and then government also supporting us. I do not want to go to the Minister of Finance or indeed the President and ask that we need salary adjustments right now. I would want our work that we'll do this year to speak for itself.
Sure. So this year we should expect some positive, show.
Of course. I mean, last week we were in, Central Farm Place, where we have 4,000 that we're going to plant now. It's been harrowed and plowed and everything. Some of our media from Kumasi were
acres of
4,000 of maize with two partners, okay. Messrs. McKelvey International and then Agromites, a respected agronomist from our university. So he has the tractors, we have the land, we have the personnel, we have the seeds and other inputs. We are going to work with them and then make sure that this 4,000 bears into fruition. We've already thinking about, we have to work quickly to build a storage facility. Otherwise, we're going to have challenges when the harvest comes. So this is what has preoccupied my attention now, and that's what I'm giving thought to, so that we save, and it will be wonderful to see, really.
And we're going to be feeding our schools?
Of course. Several government
You've heard the suggestions that,
yes,
why can't we feed our schools? That we have to import rice, we have to import...
And that's why I'm saying that I do not have to preempt some of the discussions that we're having, but we've been having very extensive discussions with the GET Fund, because they are taking care of the free SHS now. And then they want to set up clusters of poultry farms around the secondary school, so that we would be the main supplier of eggs and then, if you like, poultry meat to these schools. We have finished one in, not your school, but close by Okwapamai.
You didn't go to Nifa Secondary School?
No. Oh. So I went to Benkum, actually. So, we are going to start that one with 6,000 beds, and very soon people from the students from Okwapamai will be having fresh eggs. We finished the renovation, and it's sitting and waiting. We got the travels and all that. That's why I've not paid attention to it, but very soon. And then if you did agric in secondary school, spend at least 2 hours a week in the farm cleaning the pen and all that. That will probably instigate your interests in agriculture, and that is where things have to start. That people have to see agribusiness as the future.
It depends on how you train the minds of the, because I think the orientation of the youth. So anytime I see John Dumelo on his farm, I'm excited because he's such an inspiration to a large number of the youth. So when we see a person like that, showing so much love on his farm, it inspires. I wonder if persons like him, and he's just the immediate person that comes to mind, but persons like him, like Honorable Akando, we can send national service personnel onto private farms like that?
No. Through the MasterCard and Agri-Impact project, we're sending a lot of service persons to several projects. I think it is this year that a lot of them will bear fruits. And then if your screens would allow, we'll show you hours and hours and hours of videos of our people in the farm. In Seshafran Plains, we have some wonderful ladies working on our farms. Last week when we were there, they were transplanting the seeds to irrigated fields, where we are doing about 100 acres of tomato. When you go to Yapi, we are doing the same. And we've had several invitations around the country because there's irrigated lands here that is sitting and doing nothing. And that is what we have to put our youth into, entice them into agriculture. Otherwise, pretty much they are sitting down, getting into drug abuse, betting, which I'm not sure it's a thoroughly good thing.
This betting matter.
It's not a thoroughly good thing because at some point you're going to be bettered out. So this is a sure way of a life path of sustainable living.
Change their mindset.
Yes, of course. And then we work with them. We go everywhere with them, and then we make sure they are comfortable. And then hopefully we're going to make some. Of course, this year I'm saying that we should not have the orientation for the agri graduates the same as the social sciences and all that, because their path is different. So that's what I'm hoping that we will do, and let them know in reality the benefits of staying in agric.
In agric. You wonder why we're spending a lot of time on agric, because, I have worked with the National Service for quite a long time, and I know that agric is one of their major modules. They're so much passionate about it, so I'm just trying to get how it looks like today. So apart from agric, and salute to Mr. Kwagbenu. One wonderful man when he was, heading the secretariat at the time.
Boss, yes.
Yes. So the other models, how are they faring? We have agric and then we have what?
Oh, no, of course. If you talk
education.
About agric, yes, education. National Service has been the backbone for rural education, female education for so many years and all that. We want to get into other things, but like I said, I do not want to preempt other things. I think that we can take a good dig in property tax collection that nobody has talked about. Even if nobody gives us the platform and all that, you ask national service persons to physically go and collect from door to door, we'll make more money for government than it is now. It is something that partners have been looking at it and working on, and I'm sure very soon it will come to fore. In street lighting, we are graduating a lot of graduates with electrical engineering backgrounds. Why do our streets stay dark? So these are conversations.
Is that a new module that's coming on?
Of course, we have been having the discussions on the quiet, but once they advance and then we've made a lot of progress, of course we will bring it forth. And I do not mind. Other agencies can come and even take them and then use them to do these things, because it's quite incomprehensible taking a graduate with electrical engineering background to teach in a classroom when he could be manning maybe
more
20 lights. Yes, of course, and making sure our lights stay on. And it's good for the economy at night. It's good for general security. And these are the new parts that we would have to think.
I'm not sure how 24-hour economy is,
I think the National Service should have taken the lead much earlier, because we are graduating also hundreds of people who did food science or home economics and all that. I think that even the day before I arrived at National Service, I had sent engineers there to remake our kitchen into a very modern fast food joint. That is taking a bit of time for so many other reasons, but that will come to it. I do not see why National Service persons are not the one manning the eateries, the ministries, agencies and all that. We have to put them on a path to become their own business, and they can do it. So I don't know why they're sitting under trees and go home at the end of the day doing nothing and having acquired no skill at all.
Maybe we put them in institutions and companies that are already choked.
Yes, that is it, and that is through the faults of the National Service, because we back under pressure and then
So are you going to ignore the pressures that will come this time? Because
no, I'm sure that I'm going to have a dialogue with all our partners and stakeholders and let them see the figures for themselves. That if your brother or sister are given the choice, would he rather he stays at a place in Accra or Kokobo and not get any skills and take 10 years more to look for work? Or you rather he worked at a small accounting firm, know how to do books, and then right from there, move from shop to shop, doing books for small businesses, and then earning 10,000 Ghana cedis a month. Once you start something, you'll be amazed how it ends up.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the one area that I want us to touch on, which is a particular problem for all of us, because our lives depends on, is Galamsey. Because of the nature of your work, definitely the youth, is affected. If they go into certain areas, they are into outbreak. They know how Galamsey is even destroying the agriculture sector and all that. Have you considered this, life-threatening problem?
Well, we've had proposals from other agencies, including the Tree Crop Development Authority.
Exactly. I know you're also into tree planting.
Yes, of course, to reclaim the land.
To reclaim lands.
I think it is not, that discussion has not borne fruit yet, but very soon you'll see it. And then depleted forest zones.
Exactly.
We can plant cashew around all the depleted forest around MIM so that we can feed the factory that started in MIM. And that will spring a wonderful new economic livelihood around Gosu, MIM, Akode, Bediako, and all the other places. So we have to take all shots. We do not have to let temporal laziness deter us from what could be a wonderful dream of youth development, entrepreneurship, and anything.
Because we indeed do have the men.
We do. And then young people who are brilliant and all that. One professor from Legon told me about some trees that would be able to grow quickly, and then its fruits will nurture the land quickly. So for all the Galamsey sites, we could use the drip machines or whatever.
I think yesterday I was watching a video of some trees that even when their seeds fall off,
yes, of course,
they grow themselves before the whole
they grow very quickly, so that within a short time we could also get all depleted forest zones back. I'm hoping that these discussions will move forward so that we'll show you the fruition of all of them. It's been 2 months. There's only so much speed that I can go, but I'm really hoping that these things come on board quickly.
Well, let's get into the area of your scandal that is always disturbing us. We can't let you go without talking about it. So, tell us what's going on with that scandal.
Well, it's a subject of criminal investigation now by the NIB. I do not have access to what their findings are or what they've discovered already. We wait. Of course, last week the Attorney General made comments about his initial findings. If the NIB gave a report of certain actions that we have to take, we will be very swift. That you can be sure about that. But while I remain the Director General of National Service, you can be rest assured that the honor done me by President Mahama will not be tainted by ghost names or any malfeasance at all. And that's, I say it boldly because I will lead with the integrity of inspiration I derive from President Mahama and other leaders of our party.
I mean, you can be sure that you are obliged to lead with integrity.
Of course.
Because if you don't, we'll come for you.
I know.
We're watching you. I mean, wherever there are scandals and things have happened, everybody is paying attention to it, and everybody is expecting a better result.
Of course, and rightly so. I do not have any qualms about it at all.
The persons or personnel who mostly will complain about maybe payments or stipends that have not been received.
Yeah.
What do we do to them?
What I think that we paid 3 months of arrears in January. We are standing February and then March.
And I'm asking this question pertaining to this scandal.
Yes.
There are persons who, if you look into the system, they've been paid, but they will tell you we didn't receive anything because of the nature of the scandal.
No, for those people, if they make representations to us, we would rectify it. So, I mean, I have not had any reports of such nature. If there are, I mean, trust me, I'll deal with it quite quickly. So that's it.
Well, in our reports, of course, there were some persons who were also claiming that you find their names in a system that they've been paid, but they haven't received anything. And so, okay, so on your screen is that the discrepancies. It says discrepancies between publicly announced figures by the NSA and the figures it's presented to Parliament, and so that's what this is what the Fourth Estate actually gave us in their reports of the scandal that we're still dealing with. At what level are we now with the investigation?
Well, I think that, like I said, I do not know. Yes, so I will wait for the report. I think the Attorney General has given us an inkling of what is going to happen soon, so we wait.
Is it true that there are some authorities that are pleading
or
intervening?
I've not heard about that at all.
Are you sure?
Nope, I've not heard about it. I think that I should leave it at that stage, but I've not heard about it.
Why don't you want to touch it?
Oh, no, I have not heard about it. It's a very sensitive matter, and then having worked at the scheme all these years, it's a very regrettable incident, because when we go for meetings, people jokingly refer to you as ghost names, and then for all that negative attention, we could have channeled it to something. They refer to you as ghost names? Well, of course. I mean, they are jokes, but what else could make people laugh these days?
But that's unfair to you.
Yes, of course. They make jokes about it because it is what is everywhere. But I'm not sure they mean any malice. But these are jokes made in jest.
So the fact is, once you mention National Service Authority,
of course, every day, people make different kind of jokes about it. I take it my stride, but I think the best answer is to lead with such integrity that there will be no doubts at all about our ability to get things right, and that will be my answer to them.
Okay, but is the system that was used, to allegedly carry out those scandals, is it the same system you're using?
Of course.
You haven't touched it, you haven't done anything?
I do not think that we have to. I dare say, and I shouldn't be saying this, that without a system, we had nothing to get the information we are getting now. It is people who bypassed the system. They decided not to listen or pay attention to what they were supposed to do. So the IT consultants write to you and say, delete all names from universities that have not been accredited by GTech, and you refuse. How is that a problem of the system? If he writes to you as the Director General and asks that, delete all names of people who registered without Ghana card, you ought to comply. And then we have deleted several of these names. One morning I just say, take everybody off. So our numbers have continued to gradually
come down.
And nobody has come to complain about it. All right.
As the numbers go down, nobody has complained?
No, nobody has come to complain about it, because I sent word out there that, if you did not register with Ghana card, go and register with Ghana card by a certain time. And then when the time comes, we deleted several thousands of names. And nobody came to complain. Nobody has written to me officially to complain about it or anything. So if these checks put in place to avert the debacle we found ourselves in, we wouldn't be here. It's a leadership crisis that I have to check and check and check. Today, this morning, we sent people to GTech to go and check certain figures that I'm not sure about. I'm not going to talk about it in public, but the rigorous checks, if there's a hint, we have to find out what is happening there and everything. Because I'm really committed to government reusing this commitment to national service so that the few thousands who work there can be paid better, they can do more meaningful national service and enjoy the experience.
Yeah, but that's what the leadership requires, because in the scandal that we have, it's leadership that was leading, allegedly, that was leading the whole plague.
Of course.
So if another leadership decides that, okay, we're going to do an effective check.
Yes.
Rigorous one, continuously, almost on the daily basis.
Yes.
That will definitely check some of these loopholes
that
you find. So if it's the same system you're using, you don't think that you have to do anything to block?
Well, there are several.
Is it only the rigorous checks?
There are several checks that we have done. I think between us and them, we've done a KPMG assessment and report like 2 or 3 times. But these are not things that I would come and mention in public because he's also working on this thing. We want to migrate them even to a smart hub. It's been a subject of several speculation that they want to, change the system and all that. And this is a system that has had upgrades in the last 7 years. You could actually ask the system to do anything, and it will. because it's been collecting information, they've been building on it. I didn't know the gentleman who managed the system. I think the hunch was that, the system was a problem. But after I sat down and thoroughly examined it, and having worked at National Service all these years and saw what we have, it would be completely irresponsible to say that it was the system's fault and I should change it on a hunch.
Is garbage in, garbage out?
No, of course. Any IT person will tell you. For venturists, businessmen who would want to come and change it and all that, I will not see their motive, because this system, and of course, it was built with the National Service to target the real problems that we had. I think that with time, in the next year or two, it should return to the National Service so that we manage it and rather improve upon it. It is integrity that we need, not new system.
Integrity of the leadership.
Of course. It's integrity we need, not a new system. What new system?
Do you actually think integrity is enough? Because now you are there. So you are, just as previous leaders were there, and they probably would not tell us the truth. That
Yes.
This is what we're doing.
Yes.
Now you are there. If you are even bypassing the system, I wouldn't know until you are out or some behind the scenes investigation is conducted. And we say, Felix was even, bypassing the system.
Well,
I don't think that it's just integrity we need. We just have to have.
You are right about it. We have to put checks.
Exactly.
Yeah, which goes in several ways and all that. And then we propose several. You know what? We also happen to have a gentleman, I cannot describe it here, and all that, who refused consistently to allow the former executives access to delete
the names.
Yeah, access at the back door to delete certain things. And he stuck his grounds and says, no, I will not allow it. So, people find...
He gave reasons?
Well, ethically, he wasn't going to do that. He was not going to do that. So, for me, on the face of it, and having seen and heard what I have seen and everything, I think that this is somebody who stood for the right thing. I've heard things that, this guy will dish you in, he'll put you in problem and all that. I'm judging him based on face value, on other checks that I have to make. If at any point that I find out that he could be a jeopardy to our administration or not, we'll take him out completely. And then
there's always that possibility of a human being acting all pious, and then eventually the person is compromised.
Well, the data would have to suggest so. The data you have would have to suggest so. I have worked at a scheme, from top of my hands, if you mention a certain figure to me, that these people are posted in Sisala West, I know it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If you say that a certain number of people are posted in Dangbe West, I'm just going to ask which institutions
have they
them,
been posted
so
to?
I have to know where they are and all that. And the figures do not lie. You have a hunch where things are, and then I could see. When I sat in my office as a district manager and people came to the office, I knew they were not doing national service. And then I drove them away because, for somebody who is working, you couldn't have been dressed like this. So there are always these red flags that if you are determined to lead with integrity, you would flag. So it's not going to be as easy as I probably make it seem if you are dealing with a determined crook. But we'll give it our best shot.
Because, getting into the issues where I know that, banks, I don't know, they have the whole cartel of banks also involved, where you can get to the bank and a bank manager who knows that, you are coming to collect this amount of money.
Well, I think the BNI should come and talk to you. You seem to know so much. Well, there are lots of allegations. The NIB will do its work, and then we would find out what the facts are, and they will put them out, and then we'll act on it.
Well, but what I'm saying is nothing new. It's out in the open. This is what we know. That's how the whole transaction was done.
The NIB will find as an interested party.
By our own analysis, that's how it was done. So we'll get there. Let's see if we wait for the NIB reports. But let's wrap up and get into. So I'm on your site. We have the check pin code. We have the register. If you open right on the face value of the first page of the NSA site, it says check pin code, register online, check posting, deployment of employment portal, and then maybe YNSS and all that. So let's start with the check pin code. If you're given the check pin code, you just check.
Oh no, we put the pin codes online. So if you finish a College of Education, you have to put in a certain number, I think.
Yeah.
And then you find out your PIN code. That's what you use to register.
Okay, so opening, it says that you enter your index number,
Yes.
student's ID number, and then the dates and the details, the year are there. So you enter, and it will give you the details of what you want, and then the register. Do we have an opportunity to maybe request, apart from where you've been posted to? If you think that you are interested in farming, you can request that. I love farming. Can you give me farming instead of teaching?
Well, if it is our priority projects, and then you approach us, why not? We'll do it.
What if it's not?
If it's not our priority project, we'll send you somewhere we feel that you make a better contribution to the national development.
You feel? What if I feel I can't?
Oh, no. I mean, there's always, if you studied a certain course, a camera or sound, how would you not want to come and work at Metro TV?
Hey. I should be given an opportunity to make a choice of something that I think. Okay, so you can also register online.
Of course. Now, companies, individuals, everybody has to go online. And I'm urging through this medium, all companies, one-man businesses, 2 people, companies of every size, come and take our service persons and train them for the future ahead. Because we need them. We need people who are better informed, well-trained, skilled, to handle virtually every aspect of our economy. It wouldn't be good if you're driving around the country somewhere and then suddenly you needed a skill that is so basic and you can't find because we've not trained the people to respond to it. That would be sad. We are building a country that we have to cohere, we have to bring ourselves together. So anybody sent to Savalugu or Nanton is as important as the people who are working in Tema or Accra. And that is a discussion that we should be having from now till when we do the postings.
Where are the areas that when you do postings, a lot of people turn down? Which areas do you normally have in your turn down list?
Our teachers, we just posted about 16,000 and over personnel for those who are from the colleges of education. And I can give you the data when I finish. For all those who chose their first regions, that's where we posted them.
Okay.
So if you chose Northern Region, 100%, everybody there got. There's no any region that had less than 98%. So everybody was above and over. So if you chose Ashanti region, you were more likely to get it. But if you want to do national service next to your house, what you should know is that probably a school close to you did not request for national service. So we cannot send you there.
Which is sometimes a pressure.
Of course, and then a school manned by all the teachers already, and you are insisting that we send you there to do what? And that's where people fail to recognize that if you want to work in Kumasi is already choked with teachers. So why don't you go to Sokoto in Adansi Asokwa, which is a beautiful, serene environment. A bit of a distance from the roadside, but really nice.
What about the medical field?
Well, the nurses. I mean, we've been working with them for a year now. The Honorable Kwagbenu got the nurses admitted to do national service. I think that's nationwide. They are doing their bits, and we post them. So they become the backbone of health service delivery in the small towns, small hospitals, and then they are doing fantastic.
Well, being in office today, do you think that the proposal of the previous flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, to cancel the national service scheme, was that a good proposal? Is this something that we're working towards? Is it not helping the country? Why the need to? Because it also instills a certain level of patriotism in our future.
And last week, I was telling the 5 northern regions in a meeting that Dr. Bawumia might have seen the 1.8 billion Ghana cedis that was going to go to national service in that year, and then asked himself, what is the nation getting back from that? So it is from that instead of maybe asking the National Service Director General at the time to take certain reforms, maybe out of frustration or anger from the World Bank, from the IMF and all these creditors, needed to make way for 1.8 billion free in the budget so that he could pay some of our debts. But these same people, if we train them very well, send them to the private sector, we will reduce government's commitment to the National Service Authority and then train them to grow the economy. So it is a win-win for us. This year, when we post people to the private sector, they should embrace it.
I thought it's a every nation's
pride to have a youth working system. I'm sure that he might have made a decision in anger or haste. If you look at it very well, I'm sure that we should do what we're asking to be done now. Send our people to the private sector. The private sector has grown, but the national service commitment to the private sector has not followed the same trajectory. It's a lopsided one. We're sending 80,000 people to the public sector, doing very little and getting very little back in terms of returns, when we are putting only 20,000 in the private sector. Today, if you post a service person to the public, to the private sector, you are saving for each national service person at the current rate. You are saving over 8,000 Ghana cedis to government of Ghana. National service is gaining. And I've told my people that if we do that, within the next few years, all the metros, the urban municipals and districts directors will have their own car in their offices. We will have very modernized offices because we would have raised enough money to give ourselves the requisite allowances from our own collection. And they seem enthused about it.
All right. Let's wrap up here. I'm grateful. You have some last words for us?
No, I want companies, businesses to embrace national service. Go to our portal, come to the national service. I have said that if you request for a service person, your company wants to register our system, and it takes more than 10 minutes to get that done, I should know immediately, and I'll make sure that happens.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Well, we'll be interacting at length with Felix Jemfi. He is the Acting Director General of the National Service Authority, NSA, briefing us or taking us through what it looks like now and how the future actually looks like. So the point he's actually trying to make is that the National Service wants to move from one point to the other by expanding their nets into the business arena and making their modules business modules, to be precise, and not necessarily just coming to work for the nation in vain. And that will make most of you become entrepreneurs. If you are serious about it, I'm sure you're going to succeed. Felix, thank you for this time with me. So that's all we have for you on Good Afternoon Ghana. I'm sure you've learned a lot, and we're going to have some more interaction with the National Service Authority as and when they want to update us on the activities. We definitely will bring it across. My name is Ania Fwampo. For this has been Good Afternoon Ghana. Thanks for watching. We're back with Akwesi Free tomorrow on the show. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.
is not a textbook like chemistry textbook. It's a spirit. There are no controversies. Righteousness is defined by God. What he says you are is what you are. There's no teaching in the scriptures that will be left untaught.
Join the Good Life Devotion with Dr. David Bindon on this channel to receive biblically authoritative teachings which will usher you into exhibiting the divine life here on earth. The Good Life Devotion shows every Monday to Friday from 11 to 11:30 p.m. Don't miss the special weekend edition on Saturdays and Sundays at 10 p.m. Life is good. Enjoy.
I'll put my hand to my chest and say we are to blame because we have not demonstrated enough our role, our place at the table of men.
But aside from filling the gap, I think that it sends a signal to Africa that the time has come for us to be more self-reliant.
Wablema tesaji Yehowa, wablema tesaji Yehowa, hani jembi fale ake, oh wale na